What is good, guys? Back here with another YouTube video, and in case you cannot tell by the title below, this video will be a video where I share my story time, my experiences meeting the young bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. I'm very fortunate to be able to say that I met them a couple of times over, and if you have, would love to know what your experiences was like down in the comments below. While you're down there, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, turn on post notification. Of course, you don't have to if you don't want to, but it would mean a lot to myself if you did. And yeah, first time I met Matt, I'm gonna show you the photo now and whatnot, but yeah, it was back in 2015. So the first time I met Matt Jackson was May 15, 2015 at Ted Reeve Community Arena in Toronto, Ontario. And because this was a community arena, it was a lot smaller than what you would expect considering the Young Bucks nowadays kind of deal and whatnot. But it was a community arena and where Ring of Honor would usually do their shows in Toronto. Was there and whatnot, and I got there early, kind of deal. Doors open. I might be wrong about the time because it's been a lot of years since, but I think doors opened at 5, and there was a pre-show meet and greet from 5 till I want to say about 7, where you pay X amount of money to meet certain wrestlers. I think it was like $20 for the quote-unquote singles wrestlers, like the Shinsuke Nakamura's, the Dalton Castles, kind of deal. $30 for tag teams, like the Young Bucks, kind of deal. I might be wrong about the prices, but it was something like that kind of deal. I met Shinsuke Nakamura then, kind of deal, and I was hanging out with a couple of people that I knew from, like, fans that were into indie wrestling, like the Ontario indie scene, and I was talking to one of them, and he seen Matt Jackson walk by, and how it was set up is, like, once you kind of get access to the floor, like what would be like the rink kind of deal, if you go to the left, it's the autograph signing. If you go to the right, that's where like the stage is and whatnot, and we were hanging out roughly the middle part of where the wrestlers were signing. And if you know, like, a hockey arena kind of deal, it's easy to Google if you don't. Kind of deal, pretty much the wrestlers were signing were equivalent to the hockey goalie line is, kind of deal, and like the trapezoids and all of that stuff. Kind of deal, like the back end kind of deal. And we were roughly in the middle of that, out of the way, and that's when he seen Matt Jackson kind of go from our left, kind of deal, like the far sideboards, to the right sideboards, kind of deal, and whatnot. And I'm like, oh shoot, like, I would want to get a photo with him, so I set up my iPod because I did not want to drain my phone battery at that time, kind of deal, and I had it set up on like a selfie kind of deal for him to walk by, and if I'll ask worst case scenario, he says no, kind of deal. And he walked by a couple of minutes later, and I said, hey Matt, I asked him, hey, are you Matt Jackson? Kind of deal, way he could just say no and then continue walking. And he's like, yeah, and I'm like, do you mind, I said it loud enough for him to hear, quiet enough for people not to really notice, kind of deal. And he asked, hey, do you mind a quick photo? And he's like, do you mind, or can you do it quickly? And I'm like, yep, I already have it set up. And he's like, okay. So we took the photo. It turned out decent enough, not necessarily the best, not necessarily the worst, kind of deal. And I told him thank you, and he's like, not a problem. And he continued walking. And I'm like, for the next, like, 45 minutes, I'm like, I just met Matt Jackson for free, and he was like super chill kind of deal, because at that time I didn't know anybody that really met them, kind of deal. Like, I read stories online, but I didn't know anybody personally that has met them. And Matt Jackson, super nice, did not meet Nick Jackson and whatnot, but yeah, that was first time I met Matt. And then the next year, 2016, I was able to meet both of them, but I did not get a photo with them, but I'll show you what I got signed by them. So this is the 8x10 I got signed. Nick Jackson got it signed right there, and then Matt Jackson signed it right there, which I would have got Matt to sign it in a different color besides gold. So that was the autograph I got signed, and I don't remember the exact date off the top of my head, but I want to say it was May 11, 2016. Again, Ring of Honor, New Japan in Toronto at Ted Reef Community Arena and whatnot, and I got there super early, like 2:30, 3 o'clock, super early, in hopes of, like, my top guy I wanted to meet was Dalton Castle, but anybody would have been good, kind of deal. And about 4:45 rolled around, no signs of the Young Bucks. So we went, stood in line, because there were a couple of people near the front of the lines that said that they would hold our spots for us, kind of deal. Like myself and like 3-4 other people, kind of deal. So we went to stand in line. One of them, I think they forgot something there, or at least they couldn't see it in their knapsack or drawstring, kind of deal. And I'm like, hey, I'll go tag along, like an extra set of eyes, kind of deal. So myself and that person, and I think maybe another person, I decided to come and help, and it was like a binder or something, maybe a sweatshirt or something like that. That is relatively important, kind of deal, and whatnot. So we walked, and then probably about a minute after we got to where we were, roughly to where we were standing to find it, one of them said, hey, is that like the Young Bucks walking up? And it was far enough away that we, or at least I, couldn't see if it was or not, so we kind of kept an eye on it, and yeah, it was the Young Bucks and their parents, kind of deal. And they, all things considering, all four of them, super nice, kind of deal. And they signed, Matt Jackson was, I would say, more friendly out of him and Nick, kind of deal. So Nick just like signed for everybody, and then him and his parents went inside, kind of deal. I'm like, oh, I kind of wanted a photo with Nick. Nothing against Matt, but I had a photo with him year prior. Getting a photo with Nick would have been cool, but it didn't work out, which makes sense. Again, their parents were there, kind of deal, and whatnot. Again, the parents were nice, considering, like, hey, here's like 3 people, in a way, bugging them, kind of deal, and whatnot. So Nick signed the 8x10, and him and his parents left, and then Matt signed it. Did not get a photo with Matt because, like I said, I already had a photo with Matt from the year prior, but I took a couple, I think I took photos for the other 2, kind of deal, and whatnot. The guy who thought he lost something found it not long after, within a couple of minutes after meeting the Young Bucks. But getting that 8x10 signed, like, I would have paid the like $30 later for them to sign it, kind of deal, and whatnot. But my wallet thanks the Bucks that day, kind of deal, for signing it for free and being nice, all things considering. But yeah, that was second time I met Matt Jackson, first time I met Nick. And again, that was May 2016. Fast forward to May 2017, and I was able to get 2 things signed by them. So yeah, gonna show you that, and also the selfies I have with them. So this isn't just a blank t-shirt I got signed. Nick Jackson signed right there, and Matt Jackson signed right there. And the thing that I got signed was this Global Wars 2015 poster. Matt signed right there, kind of over AJ Styles, but it is what it is, and Nick signed right there. So those were the photos and the 2 things I got signed, and I just want to say the t-shirt I got signed, and my cousin got it signed for me, kind of deal. Don't know what his experience was like, and he is one of those guys that if you had to rank like autograph, photo, and or having a conversation with a wrestler, it would be conversation with the wrestler, a little bit down, photo, big gap, maybe not big, but big enough gap, autograph, kind of deal. Like, he just doesn't really care about autographs, unless it's like Undertaker kind of deal and whatnot. It's just not his thing and whatnot. But yeah, when it came to his experience, I don't remember it, so I won't go on and on about it. But I pretty much, we got to the venue about 4. Again, it was a Sunday, May 7th or 6th, first Sunday of May 2017. We went, got there to the venue about 4, give or take, and met a couple of wrestlers. 4:30-ish, 4:45 rolls around, and we seen the Young Bucks. And when I say we, it was myself, my cousin, and like 8 other people kind of deal, like a group of wrestling fans kind of deal. And I'm like, oh shoot, they're not gonna sign kind of deal. So I chucked the t-shirt at my cousin, threw him a marker, and like, these 2 guys kind of deal. Ask them politely for an autograph. If they say no, say okay. That is absolutely fine, because it is. I don't know who he went to first. I think he went to Nick first. I went to Matt, whatnot first, because just based off the previous year, he was more friendly, kind of deal. I asked him to sign the poster, and he's like, yeah, sure. And he had a quick look at the poster. It was Global Wars 2015, and he said, where do you want me to sign it? And I'm like, you're right here, so somewhere around here, which I showed you, and he's like, okay. And I asked him, do you mind a quick photo? You don't have to if you don't want to, because I don't know for sure if I was the oldest one there, but I was one of the like oldest like 3 people, and I said it loud enough where everybody else would hear his answer kind of deal. When I say older, I mean like I was early 20s, everybody else might have been a teenager kind of deal and whatnot. And Matt said, yeah, sure. So I took the photo, and I told him, again, loud enough for people to hear, thank you for spending a little bit of your time doing that for me, kind of deal. And he's like, not a problem, and whatnot. Then by the time I was done with Matt, Nick had like 2 people maybe, kind of deal. And I asked him, hey, do you mind a quick photo? You don't have to if you don't want to. And he's like, yeah, sure. Took the photo, and I asked him, do you mind signing this? Again, you don't have to if you don't want to. And he's like, yeah, sure. He looks at it, and he's like, were we on this card? I'm like, yeah, you were, for night 1, you were at least in the main event, like the Bullet Club versus ROH guys. And he's like, oh, okay, where do you want me to sign it? And same thing to Matt, like, hey, you're roughly, like, you're right here, somewhere around there. And he's like, okay. And I told him, thank you. I really appreciate you doing this I either said for us or for myself, kind of deal. And he's like, no problem. And they left, kind of deal. And continued signing, and then they left, and whatnot. And cousin showed me the autographs on the shirt. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, kind of deal. They probably appreciate signing a blank t-shirt more than a poster with a couple of autographs already on it. But yeah, that was my experience meeting the Bucks and whatnot in May of 2018. Fast forward to November of 2018, where I finally got a photo with them and 2 autographs. Yeah, another 2 autographs from them. I got this 2-pack Hot Topic exclusive Funko Pop signed Nick Jackson. Turned out really well. Matt Jackson, definitely can see it better in person. And the 8x10 that they used to give out at these pre-pandemic, I got signed. Right there, you can see Nick, and then right there, you can see Matt Jackson's autograph. So this one, as of this recording, the last Ring of Honor show that I attended, which was 11/11/18, like November 11th, 2018, at the old Maple Leaf Gardens, now known, or arguably now known, as Mattamy Athletic Center. That's what it, like, Maple Leaf Gardens closed, it was reopened as Mattamy Athletic Center, and this was not Ring of Honor's first show at Maple Leaf. For the sake of this video, Maple Leaf Gardens. They had a show back in 2013, kind of deal. Apparently did not sell well for ticket-wise, and then this one sold, I think, well, or at least well enough, Kind of deal considering. Kind of deal because it was the second last show, like the Bucks, Adam Page, Cody Rhodes, those guys were going to be on before All Elite Wrestling. Like this was the show, Final Battle, that was it. And Final Battle was in New York, like a month later, kind of deal. So I knew that I had to meet the Young Bucks together to get a photo with them and whatnot, and to get their or at least one of their Funko Pops signed, kind of deal. And I brought both down to Toronto, kind of deal, but both as in the normal one and the Hot Topic exclusive. But thing is, for wrestling events like the size of Ring of Honor, I brought a drawstring bag and one of the straps broke, kind of deal. Not like the strap itself, like, but the hoop, kind of deal. The strings would go to string straps, kind of deal. So, left it at the hotel and whatnot, and I only have so many arms, and I did not think of bringing another drawstring bag, kind of deal, and whatnot down to Toronto, and I couldn't find one, so only brought the Hot Topic exclusive Pop Vinyl when I could have got both of them signed and maybe an 8x10. But either way, I paid I think it was $40 to meet the Bucks, kind of deal. Got a photo with them together and 2 autographs, so I can't really complain about the price, kind of deal. Met the Kingdom for, again, I think that one was $30 to meet them, kind of deal. But either way, met them and stood in line for probably about 20 minutes into the meet and greet to meet the Young Bucks. And I'm like, man, like, come on, like, autograph signing started 20 minutes ago. I can understand being like 5 minutes late, bathroom break, you gotta do what you gotta do. But 20 minutes, it's like, come on, guys, kind of deal. And then it was another about 30 minutes waiting in line to meet them once they did show up. And this part is a good thing in the sense of they spent their time with every fan, kind of deal. And seeing that actually happen is really cool. Like them in 2014, they were popular, but not like that popular, or pales in comparison, kind of deal, or whatever that saying is, and whatnot. Eventually, it was my turn. Gave my phone to somebody to take a photo, kind of deal, and Nick Jackson. I put the Funko Pop 2-pack on the table. Nick kind of pulls it towards him, and he asked, "Oh, where were you able to find this?" And I said, "Oh, like at a mall, like an hour and a bit north." And he's like, "Whoa, like an hour and a bit north? Like you drove that much?" Or Matt said, "You drove that far just to get our Funko?" And I'm like, "No, I live an hour and a half north, and the mall's like 25 minutes from where I live." And he's like, "Oh, okay, that's good. Then thank you for making that drive, kind of deal for the show, like that hour and a half plus drive." I'm like, "Yeah, it's Ring of Honor. It's I met you guys a couple of times through the years, but it's cool to meet you guys again." And he's like, "Oh yeah, thanks for meeting us through the years, or those couple of times, and whatnot." And Nick Nick signed it first, and then Matt, I don't know for sure what happened. They used different paint pens, kind of deal, but in person you can kind of see it well. But Matt signed it, and I guess his hand rubbed the paint pen when it was still wet, kind of deal. So it's like kind of messed up and whatnot. And Matt asked, like, "Oh shoot, like, is that okay?" And like, "Yeah, to me it's okay," kind of deal. "It's a little bit of a funny story." And he's like, "I don't mind it, like overdoing it with a different pen or signing somewhere else, kind of deal." And I'm like, "Don't worry about it. Again, it's to me it's a cool story. I don't have any plans to like resell it. Like this is like for my own collection." And Matt seemed really apologetic about it, kind of deal. They signed the 8x10 as well, which I think they were doing for everybody because it was for how Ring of Honor events were at that time. For the pre-show was one autograph, one photo for X amount of money, kind of deal. And they signed the 8x10 plus one other item. And I'm sure if you brought both Funko Pops, like the exclusive and the normal one, they would have signed those as well and whatnot. But yeah, took the photo, and it's not the best photo, but I still have a photo of the Bucks, their own selfies, and one of them together, like a normal photo kind of deal and whatnot. But yeah, that is all the times I met the Young Bucks. So that's it for this one. Again, if you have met the Young Bucks, would love to know what your experience was like down in the comments below. While you are down there, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, turn on post notification. Of course, you don't have to if you don't want to, but it would mean a lot to myself if you did. More importantly, hope you guys are doing okay mentally, emotionally, and physically.
The world that we tend to make up is nothing but a fantasy until you wake up. I feel like I'm just lying to myself, yeah. Cause I just crossed the line like I'm playing offside. Do it how I want and I'ma do it till I die. Feel like I'm just lying to myself, but it's